networking and creating opportunities. What advice would you give, Bea, to someone without an established network? And how can they actively create opportunities to build one?
Yeah, that's networking is important. And you know what, Stephanie? Almost everybody has some sort of network, and people are sometimes just not aware of it. So one thing I would suggest is that you just map your network, family, friends, relatives, former colleagues, um, and check if there is someone who knows someone who works internationally. It doesn't have to be the uncle who already works in the UN. You know, anybody who has an international environment could probably be of help. Another opportunity is, or possibility is to look at volunteer activities in your area of interest and engage there, um, and make that about a topic that also the UN engages in. Just a short thing, when I started, I thought I had no network and or connections to any international organizations. And I did what I just described. I contacted former colleagues and I asked, do you know anybody who can give me an advice? And yes, then one old colleague said, yeah, I have an old friend who is in that area of work. Please contact him. And that's what I did. And that's to some extent also how I made my first steps into the UN. So networking is important to get in, but it is also important when you're already inside. I mentioned earlier seeing bridges rather than competition. What I mean is just a small example. Let's say you work on a project for faster recycling of water bottles made of plastic, and then you hear that the team in a different department is working on reusable plastic bottles. So, and you wonder, are they competing with my approach? And take a different perspective. What if you propose cooperation? Have a joint project to reduce the burden of plastic pollution, and then you have two work streams. One is better recycling, and the other one is having reusable plastic bottles, because both contribute to the same overall goal. So that's what I mean. See opportunities for cooperation, and rather than focusing on potentially competitive aspects. And even if this does not work out, you will be remembered as someone who sought cooperation, and they may approach you next time. So this is something that has worked for me quite well.
Yeah, same here, Bea. That really worked for me as well. I think cooperation is key, and I think in general, networking is not about taking, but it's about giving. It's about to approach relationships with a mindset of adding value to others, and whether through sharing knowledge or helping with a project, as you just said, or offering instructions. Um, to maybe to the question itself, as in what to do with for those who don't have an established network. My advice, and I often tell our students or people who join those webinars, that like most companies have a business strategy. My advice is to have your own personal career strategy. So set yourself realistic goals that you want to achieve. Have a think what skills you may need to develop to achieve those, and ideas how you can achieve them. So, for example, who could help you? I read this really, really good book. It's called Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. And it's a great book if you're looking for how to actively create opportunities. The book, I mean, just some key takeaways about, being authentic and leveraging existing relationships to, as what you already said, Bea, to begin with family, to begin with friends, and so on. But one thing that really helped me with that book is in the book, I think he either recommends or there is a powerful Excel sheet where you can actually, it's like a tracking system to manage your networking efforts. And I think that for me was really useful to have like a tracker that really helps me to visually see who I could approach and so on. So if you're interested in that, you don't need to buy the book. I'm not advertising this book, but you could simply Google networking tracker template, and there are obviously lots of different networking tracker templates that you could use, and that might be useful.